I can't tell you how much I love that. I'm the kind of guy who I'm addicted to coffee, but I literally will not buy a Starbucks coffee, even if it means I've got to deal with a headache and can't work because I won't support that kind of evil
Right.
company. We know what they're giving
Yeah.
money to. Hey everybody, Alex Newman here. This is Conversations That Matter for the New American Magazine. We have a very special guest today. Everybody's got on their minds, what am I going to do? Biden made a new mandate. Every company with over 100 employees is going to have to inject everybody or fire them or pay monster fines. We've got these mega corporations funneling the profits they're making off of our backs into Planned Parenthood and LGBT causes and all kinds of things, Democrat politicians. And I think a lot of people are sick of this. But today we have the former pastor who decided to start a family business, not in the traditional sense, but in a very unique sense to advance the kingdom and to give money away. His name is Joe Huss. Joe, thank you so much for being with us today. And explain to us first what you did. Why did you resign as a pastor and decide to start this Generous Joe's Coffee?
Yeah. Well, appreciate the question, Alex. We as a pastor of a church, there's a lot of things run through your mind. Obviously, Solomon said, "Money answereth all things," and it just seems like more so now than ever, there needs to be businessmen, Christian businessmen, conservative Christian businessmen who give back money to conservative causes that we care about, right? And obviously, when you look around and you see all of these big businesses, liberal causes, and all sorts of all manner of things we just could care less about, and actually are fighting against. Man, my wife and I, we just said, there's got to be a way we can create something that's sustainable we could give money to these good organizations. And I looked around and I said, man, everybody buys coffee. 70% of Americans drink coffee. And so the average coffee shop does pretty well for themselves. And I said, you know what, we could do a coffee company. Let's just start a coffee company, and we'll be generous with every cup of Joe. I said, it'll be generous. I said, matter of fact, we'll call it Generous Joe's. And it rolled off my tongue. And that was 4 years ago. But at the time I was pastoring, and I said to my wife, I said, baby, if I ever resign, I think we'll start this thing. We'll do everything we can to get this thing off the ground, and we'll give money back to good causes. And so that was back October of last year. I resigned. January 1st, we moved down to Southern California, and then now about a month and a half ago, we moved back to Des Moines, Iowa. And a lot of our events that we are sponsoring and helping out with are in kind of central United States in Iowa, but a lot are even in on the East Coast in North Carolina.
I can't tell you how much I love that. I'm the kind of guy who I'm addicted to coffee, but I literally will not buy a Starbucks coffee, even if it means I've got to deal with a headache and can't work because I won't support that kind of evil company.
Right.
We know what they're giving
Yeah,
money to.
that's right.
So what kind of things do you guys give money to? I mean, I know that's why you're doing this. What kind of things do you guys support? You mentioned
Yeah.
events. What kind of events? What kind of causes, organizations do you guys support?
Yeah, that's another great question. So, yeah, trying to align with people 100% is virtually, not it's impossible. So we try to get 99% there, right? So I tell people, I'm like, if you're a pro-life, pro-Israel, pro-family, pro-American company, if you're conservative in your core beliefs, man, I can help you. So what we do for a lot of these events is we've been running these things. I just came up with this thing called a 90 for 90, which basically is 90% of the net profits for 90 days. And at the event, we just capture our CRM, our database tracks all the information at the event, and then we give them a unique promotional code that they enter in online when they buy coffee, and then our database tracks that, and then we're able to cut a check after 90 days to the organization, or the people within that organization, or we're accessing really their sphere of influence, and then we can write them a check after 90 days. So if you're a pro-life, pro-Israel, pro-family, I mean, obviously there's some deeper things in there as well, but that's kind of like a broad brush approach to who we're supporting.
And what kind of impact has it had? I mean, give us some examples of some maybe organizations or causes that you've supported and what that's done for the mission.
Yeah, so nobody, I can't support. I mean, okay, there's about $5 a bag worth of profit per bag of coffee. So that's not a significant amount of money, but aggregately over the course of 90 days, hopefully it is. So the checks will get larger and larger, but right now, I mean, we're trying to give hundreds or even thousands away. And Lord willing, down the road, we'll be able to access bigger spheres of influence where someone will say, "Hey, listen, I've got an organization. We're like-minded. Will you help support us?" And I say, "Great, you've got whatever 10 million people at your fingertips. Perfect. I can help your organization. We'll give you X amount of percent for X amount of days, or we'll give you 100% for the launch, or there's no real set number or metric there we're shooting for. It's just we just want to be generous, with every cup of Joe."
That's awesome. And you've talked about something called kingdom economics. Obviously, you're a Christian. Walk us through what that means. What is kingdom economics? How do Christians participate? And should we be thinking, big picture? How do Christians operate in the economy? Should this be part of that?
Yeah. So when I think kingdom economics, I'm thinking in again the largest picture I can. Right. I mean, the liberals will support the liberal agenda. Let the conservatives and the Christians support conservatives and Christians. Let's not support, like you said about Starbucks, right? They said, I think, quote, years ago, they said, "If you're a Christian, we don't need your money." Okay, well, fine. Yeah. That's great. Then I won't give you my money. I'll give someone else money. We just have to have those alternatives, right? So in the coffee realm, I want to be the conservative alternative. Somebody says, "Man, I just want to support somebody who's going to support the causes that we care about." And I think within business, primarily as it pertains to a Christian, we ought to identify what we are, who we are in core beliefs, and then say, "Hey, we're going to start a business based on a good model, on a Christian model, on a conservative model." And then take those profits and give those profits. Not all of them, of course. I'm a capitalist, right? I mean, I believe in making money, but at the same time, if we're going to be good to somebody, do good to all men, especially to them of the household of faith. That's what the Bible says. So let's do good to the household of faith. Let's take care of our brothers and sisters who are Christians, like-minded in their beliefs, and support those causes. So let's take care of those folks first.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So are there other companies in kind of doing this that you know of, either in your community or at the national level, or is this a unique thing that's just getting off the ground?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the end from the beginning. I'm sure there are other people out there that are doing similar things. I've heard of other organizations that give back to conservative causes and things, and that's great. I don't. Some people are a little bit nebulous on who they're supporting, by how much they're supporting, and I like transparency, right? So I know there's another company out there, Black Rifle Coffee, and not talk down about them. They're pro veterans, praise God, but I don't think they take a position on life. I don't think they take a position on Israel. I think that there's some uncertainty as to really who they're supporting. They're not. It's not a Christian group. They're a veteran group, and I thank God for them. I really do, Alex. I praise God for them. But some people are supporting causes that aren't who exactly we are. And if you want somebody who's going to be a conservative, a Christian who loves the Lord and is trying to give back money to the work of God, then I think we have to look for those people, and we actually have to do some investigating and see who it is we are supporting.
Yeah, absolutely. And Black Rifle Coffee Company, they got a lot of attention, and then I think they've alienated some of their supporters with some of the things that their leaders have said in the press and things. They kind of got tricked by the fake media into demonizing a lot of their own supporters. That was rather sad. So what kind of advice do you have, Joe, for people out there? A lot of people right now are desperate to get out of the system, so to speak. They're working for big companies, and now they're facing vaccine mandates, and they're being forced into social justice woke trainings about what your skin color and things. A lot of people want to get out of this. Can anybody in today's America still start a business? Is it something feasible? What do you think? Do you have some advice for people who are thinking about taking the plunge?
Yeah, get out, and get out quick. So it's I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said, there's a lot of wealthy people who have real estate, but there's hardly one wealthy person I know, real uber wealthy, that doesn't own a business. And I said, because my dad told me when I was a young boy, he said, there's 3 ways to make money. He said, your hands make money, other people's hands make money, and your money makes money. And if you're in the rat race where you're always underneath somebody, you can never actually you can't scale you if you're the only person there, making money. So find something where you can add value in today's society. Where can you add value? Where can you uphold Christian values? And then do it to the glory of God. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do all to the glory of God. I mean, do with all thy might. I mean, get out there and start something that's going to add value, because we're looking for conservatives. Conservatives are looking for other conservatives to support, even if it costs more money. We get that because we don't have the market share that my bag of coffee costs more than Starbucks. I don't have the market share that Starbucks has. I mean, they leverage their massive $23 billion a year company and buy coffee beans at this much, and they're not even good coffee beans. I'm just simply saying. So for the person who wants to get out there, add value as quickly as you can to as many people as you can, and do it to the glory of God.
Yeah, and how about for consumers? Because you bring up a really good point. I mean, Amazon, for example, is a wicked evil company. I mean, we know they hate Christians. We know they're now censoring books. They want to decide what we can and can't read. But they're so convenient. I mean, I could just log on there and a couple clicks of a button, and boom, the thing shows up at my door the next morning. Whereas I could go down the street and I have to get in my car and I'd have to pay an extra $1 to buy the same thing. Do you think Christians and conservatives and Americans who are sick of all this are they really willing to put their money where their mouth is and actually pay a little bit more or drive to the store instead of just going for the convenience of these big evil corporations?
Yeah, that's a great question too. Because so let's face it, convenience is king, right? I mean, everybody knows that, dude. You just hit the button and your package shows up at your door like a day later. Matter of fact, I've had packages arrive before my email confirmation came in. So it's a bizarre anomaly. I don't even know how they do it. And the truth is we're never going to displace them unless we start somewhere. I mean, you got to start somewhere, and we're not going to be a big e-commerce giant. We may not displace Starbucks. When you go to Shop Generous Joe's and you buy coffee, there's a bag here or a bag there, but over time, yeah, we'll gain some market share. So for the consumer, you just got to do research, and again, you have to be in the world, not of the world. But if we didn't shop anywhere with people who had liberal tendencies and things of that nature, did we? As well as I do, we wouldn't be using Skype right now. And I mean, but we have to start something, because eventually the liberals are going to take it if we don't start to control our own media and control our own e-commerce, et cetera, et cetera. So we just have to do the very best we can at supporting people who don't support the liberal agenda, because it's big and it's going to get ugly out there. And if we don't get out in front of this soon, the big tech, the big e-commerce giants, all of these big players are going to take over so much market share that it's going to be almost hard to gain any room in that space at all.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. When we've seen this across industries, folks, and right now there's still alternatives, and they're silencing us, they're threatening us, they're demonizing us, they're terrorizing us, they're deplatforming us. Folks, if you think it's bad now, just wait until these people become true monopolists. Wait until Amazon shuts down every little local bookstore. I want to throw two names out there, folks, since we're on this topic. One is an investment interest. It's called the Timothy Plan. I have a little bit of money invested in there, full disclosure. And what they do is they look for companies that do not support the anti-Christian stuff. They don't support abortions. They're not pushing the LGBT stuff down the throats of their customers. So that's a real good resource if you have some wealth that you want to invest, but you don't want to support wicked companies. There's one more that I want to mention too. secondvote.com. You can go to secondvote.com. You can put in the name of any big company on there, and it'll tell you where they stand on all the key issues, including whether they support the mass murder of babies, including whether they want open borders, whether they want to disarm you and take away your God-given rights to keep and bear arms to protect your life and your family, and so on. So, guys, this is really it's a critical subject. That's why we brought Joe on today. Joe, before we let you go, tell us, please, how can people find your coffee company? Is it just people in Iowa who can participate, or is this something that's open to people everywhere? How do people get involved?
Yeah, people anywhere. ShopGenerousJoes.org. ShopGenerousJoes.org. That'll take you to our online site. You can find anything you need there.
Excellent. Well, Joe, I just want to thank you so much for what you're doing, and thank you for coming on and sharing your insights. Folks, there's never been a better time to do this. People are sick and tired of being bullied by these big corporations that are so woke, that they're willing to demonize half or more of their customer base. Now's a good time, folks. And Joe is right. If we don't do this now, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. We just interviewed the head of Gab, Andrew Torba. Go check that out, guys. This is a guy who's trying to build an alternative social media platform. He's now creating job listings for people who don't want to do the forced injection thing. So we need a whole lot more of this, guys. Go check out Shop Generous Joe's, check out Gab, check out all the people in this industry that are trying to build alternative companies, alternative platforms outside of this increasingly wacko so-called mainstream that's going on. And folks, thanks again for watching. I'm your host, Alex Newman. This is Conversations That Matter for the New American Magazine. We appreciate you all. Please share, get this out there, do something about it, right? Don't just absorb the information, but get the information out there. Thank you all, and until next time, God bless.